2015 Ford Escape front wheel drive transmission. Got to come out. This is quite an ordeal. First thing we're going to do, we're going to take these two bolts out right here and take this loose. Then we're going to take all of these little clips out. 1, 2, they're clipped all the way across there. Take all of those clips off. And then we're going to pop these off right here. Nuts off of these windshield wipers, and we're going to take the windshield wipers off. And then this whole plastic piece comes off of here. Okay, so there's a 10 here, and one on the 2 on the other side. All right, as you can see now, there's a lot of room in here. So what we're gonna do is move this out of the way. We're gonna get this battery cover and the battery completely out. We're gonna get all this air box and stuff off of here, and then look down in there and see what else we gotta get off. Now there's going to be 3 10mm, 1, 2, 3 in this box. You take those 3 out, 1, 2, 3, then you need to unhook this off the side of the box. So it's a Torx right here, and then it just pulls out with a plastic clip right here. T25. All right. So now that that's out of there, you can see everything's opened up a lot. Okay, so now what we need to do is take this off. So it's 4 15mm nuts. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then this plate comes off right here, and then that'll open it up even more. Alright, next thing I've got to get this kind of out of the way. So I'm going to take these 2 nuts off here and take this wire off and this wire off so I can kind of get it pushed out of the way as much as possible. What we're going to do is we're going to take these 2 10mm off to take this bracket off, to take this shifter cable out of the way. Next thing we got to do is get these cooler lines off. Alright, so now that I got the cooler lines popped off of there, now what we have to do, and there's no fun way about it, is you got to fish an extension and a wobble socket up underneath there and get to the 3 bell housing bolts that are in there. Freaking see one. Okay, yep, there's one right there. and then there's two more over here, which are you just gotta fish for them, but they're in there, 3 of them. Oh boy, it is tight. That's the easy one. And it was a wobble on a wobble. So it was a wobble extension with a wobble socket. For these other ones, I'm thinking wobble extension, regular socket. So now, all that's unhooked. Another thing is take these plastic clips off right here that hook to that. Okay, next thing you gotta do, and probably the last thing we do up here before we go down on the bottom, is right here, this starter right here has to come out to get to bell housing bolt, or to get to torque converter bolts. So in order to do that, that 10mm right there needs to come off, and there's another one on the bottom, and that takes off this little shield that's on here. And then once the shield comes off, then there's a 13mm bolt there and one on the bottom. So from up here, you got to take off this top 10 and the bottom 10, take the shield off, and then take that 113 out from the top. Then you take the last 13 off from the bottom, and then you can move it out of the way to get the torque converter bolts out. Now the bottom one's got to come off from the bottom, so I'm going to lay on the floor real quick. Alright, next thing we're going to do is take these axle nuts off. A lot of times you take this nut off and these things are stuck in here. So there's a little indent right here for a punch and an air hammer. So I use that to drive those in and break them loose. Okay, so here we are up in the air. First thing we're gonna do is get the axles out. So we're gonna take these ball joints off, break that loose. And this side has this strap, 2 13mm nuts. Ball joint on this side. Take these axles out. And we're draining it so it doesn't leak everywhere when I take the axles out. I'm going to spray these with some lube now that I got the bolt out. And now we're going to break out the secret weapon. This is the secret weapon. Get this ball joint off. It's here. Now you come right up in here with a pry bar, and you pop that thing out. Just like that. Now on this side, you got a couple 13s. I'll find 2 nuts to take off right there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this mount off. So that way I can pivot this whole thing forward as far as possible so that I can get this starter off and get up in here and get the torque converter bolts out. Okay, now there's a 15 right here. 15 right here, and then 1 on the back side right here. So I get to do this with a ratchet wrench. need to do is hold it the other way so we can get the starter off. Okay, so now that we got some room, you unplug this oil pressure sensor, and then you take this last 13 out right here. Then you try to get this swung over here out of the way somewhere tucked up in here. Once the starter's out of the way, you can see it was there, and you're going to pull out this rubber piece right here. It's a plug. And then if I can see, oh, look at there, a nut. Okay, there's going to be four, I think 4 or 5. And I'm going to turn it around by the crankshaft, take those out one by one. So there was 4 of those nuts up in there. I take the torque converter loose. So now what we're going to do is take out, we're going to probably leave these 2, or at least this one in, take the rest of all the bell housing bolts out. Now there is a hard one over here. So you see 2 of them. The top one up there, you can get all the way out by getting a ratchet wrench and going up through here. This one, the lower one, it doesn't come out all the way because it hits this. So what I do is I just leave it for the last one, and then when I take the transmission out, as the transmission moves away, the bolt moves closer. So as I move the transmission away, I just unscrew the bolt as I go, and eventually it comes out. And it's just the first one I start. When I go back in, same thing. And then after we get the bell housing bolts out, all except for 1 or 2 holding it, then we're going to go back to the top and we're going to hang it. Update on the top one, it's out, but I had to break it loose from down here with a ratchet wrench and then go from the top and reach down and just take it out with my fingers, because you cannot reach it from down here. And I think the other alternative is to take the exhaust manifold off, and I do not want to take this exhaust manifold off, so I'm going to sneak the bottom one out like I said and go from there. Now that we have all the bell housing bolts out except for that one and that one, now we're going to lower it down and we're going to hang it from the top. And actually first what I'm going to do is take this out. We got that bar out of there now, which is going to give us the room we need here. I got the plug-ins unplugged here and up there, and we are ready to hang this thing from the top. All right, so here we are back at the top. There's a hook in the back for hanging it, so I'm going to put the chain there, and then I'm going to pick probably maybe this bolt right here to take out and then put back in with the chain on it. Sneak this in here. All right, so now we got a chain right here. All right, the next thing we're gonna do is get some boards that go across here and from here to the shock tower to the thing, shock tower to the thing. So now we take that motor mount off that I was talking about. Right here, motor mount, bolt, big bolt, takes this whole motor mount off. Then we'll let this down a little bit and we'll go underneath and take it out. One more thing you got to take off is this mount right here also. 415s right there. Now I'm gonna lower this down a little bit. Somewhere right there maybe. All right, so here we are back underneath. You got it hung. What we're gonna do is put a jack under this thing. And then we're gonna take out the last two bell housing bolts. And hopefully, this thing will slide over far enough right here to come loose enough to come down and out. We will see. All right, there it is. Out. Ford Escape. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.